Hey guys, Rinji here, once again bringing you the worst out of the VTuber community. And today's the worst is something else than the worst. It's more of a commentary than anything else. Not really my own commentary, even though I'll be adding some of my opinions to it as I read along. This time we have KSon's opinions about the growing epidemic of bad weebs, Gachikoi culture, as well as unicorns. It's unknown what prompted KSon to dedicate one particular stream to discussing this sort of stuff, but what triggered it, I suppose, is less important than what was said during the stream. So let's get right into it. What KSon said during the stream was originally in Japanese, mixed in with some of English ranting as well, as she usually does. What you see beforehand is a transcript of the translation of what KSon said in Japanese, done by one of her mods. The video of the original stream will be linked in the description, so you can check it for accuracy later. KSon, hey, everyone, konbanmura. This is KSon Socha. Excuse me, I'm squatting today. This is a serious situation. Please listen to this. Today is sort of a serious chat. I'm even stomping the ground. Somewhere beyond my knowledge, the future of VTubers is met its end. Something terrible is happening. I have something serious to discuss today. Even since I debuted, Japan and America, my career's been about 5 years. Oh, it's fine, this doesn't have to be members only. In fact, I want everyone to hear this. Especially the weebs. Basically, Japan otaku. I'm not particularly, it's not particularly a bad word. You're a weeb basically means you love Japan. Can be used for both guys and girls. When I debuted, it was my intention to pitch Japan and America. I myself am a weeb. I love internet culture, I love games, and so on. Yeah, Naruto, I keep going on about it. So for those who are learning the term for the first time, just know that it refers to those who love Japanese culture. Yeah, I'm an American from Georgia. I'm an ex-weeb. I live in Japan now. So I'm the weebest weeb ever, and now I want you guys to listen. Let me get to the point. Up until now, I've used the term weeb in a good way, but lately the manners of weebs, I want the Japanese people to hear this too. Basically, their manners have been taking a strange turn. I didn't realize it earlier because I've been away from the culture for a while. Weebs are supposed to be people who adore Japan, but in VTuber culture there's the concept of Gachikoi, of being really in love with the streamer, right? Some people get angry about the streamer having a significant other. I have no problem at all with Gachikoi concept, and fans supporting creators is great. That's not the issue. I'm talking about the unicorn troublemakers. The ones who flip out when they disagree with something, and now it seems like the term weeb is referring to those guys instead. I only learned this recently. Now it seems like the more extreme someone is, the cooler they are. I don't mind if fans dislike their favorite streamer having a significant other. The way they connect with creators is up to them. It's getting to the point where those who cross the line are considered real weebs. But those who make their faves cry are the real fans. This is very bad. This is in fact terrible, and they consider those who don't share their views not real weebs. I love the attitude of all that matters is that creator he herself is happy. Up to now, weebs have been popular who don't really care who hangs out with who. It's like picking on someone for the X's X. See, KSon has this particular unique characteristic to her, is that she understands both English and Japanese on a native level, and she's part of both of these cultures. She's both part of the Japanese otaku culture when anime and manga is concerned, as well as VTubing, as well as the American side, as well as the Western side, the English-speaking side of it. So she will have her unique perspective on this. When it comes to the term weeb, and this is more of my own experience with the term weeb, about, let's say, 10 to 15 years ago, it's been, I didn't even know the term even existed 15 years ago, but it surely existed 10 years ago. Was something that people called themselves, and sometimes others to make fun of them, being, obsessed with Japan, everything that was Japanese. The history of that word is kind of complicated because it has both two of these meanings. One being the self-appointed weebs calling themselves that as extreme fans of everything that comes out of Japan, and also those that use that term in order to insult people, calling them weebs, unapologetic even. And there's two minds about that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure how familiar KSon is with that particular type of history, or if she has different experiences with the word. But I personally never heard the term weeb, and real weeb, as she describes it in during her stream, used in the context of them being the real fans that are so obsessed with their VTuber that they try to control their behavior. Those people I'd call the most extreme unicorns. The people that want to put their idol's purity before anything else. That's where the attitude of them not being able to collab with males and all that sort of stuff comes from. It's an interesting topic to discuss because there is some actual good points that some unicorns do actually make. There's not many of them, but there's there's a level-headed discussion to have about those two. I might do a stream or another video about Gachikoi and unicorn culture within VTubing at some point. But for right now, let's focus on what KSon is talking about. There are fans of VTubers that are very obsessed with their favorites, with their Oshis. They do try to, sometimes it gets to the point where they do try to control their behavior. So if a particular VTuber does something that's out of line according to the fan, that particular fan can very easily become an anti. They can very easily become a harasser if they're that type of extreme fan. So it is a dangerous precedent because there's very few unicorns within VTubing, and the most extreme fans are of a minimal amount, but they can be extremely loud, and their behavior can reflect badly on a lot of other fans within the same space. But let's continue what KSon had to say in the stream. I don't even get what they're fighting against, and now those people are supposed to be real weebs. There used to be only few bad apples, and some people who consider agency VTubers who obey their agency orders without question real creators. Well, I still think that there's only a few bad apples in there. I think KSon is noticing more of them now because they've been more vocal about it. And once again, when these people are very vocal, they may seem like they're more numerous than they actually are. At least that's my perspective and opinion on them, that sort of stuff. And themselves who support such creators real weeps. That's so lame. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in particular, of course, but as a result of the bad minority growing louder in Japan, it's clouding the overseas viewers' review. Can we go back when we just love VTubers in general, regardless of gender or even race? Personally, I'm popular with girls and have zero Gachikoi. So I suppose no one would raise a fuss even if I got married. Usa. Problem is, I don't have any specific ideas for what can be done. I only know that things are very wrong. In America, people are quite individualistic. I like who I like, and you like who you like, period. I saw that Japan too, and I like that attitude. You can dislike who you want, it's your discretion. But now Japanese idols are getting severely misunderstood. Of course, I'm not pointing fingers at idols, but I'm getting to where they're being propped up as absolute good, and those who go another way, absolute bad. I understand there's business. For business's sake, some might show some cleavage. That doesn't bother me. Or like, if there's Yuri, it'd sell better. That's fine. But apparently the range of what's considered doable is shrinking. I didn't realize it earlier because I was really busy with my own matters. I don't have the leeway to find out what's happening beyond my sphere. I have quite a few friends, you see. Those underage scenes, those not, those with big boobs, those without. Wake up, weebs. You're allowed to support anyone you want. Being an idol is not about being some... it's hard for me to say. I don't want to say it super directly. Knowing her history, I know why she's trying to hold back her words in this particular discussion. Being on true stuff isn't the right way. Apparently there's been growing hate directed against those, for example, in VShojo who do whatever they want. I didn't realize it was a whole trend. There are those who believe the true weebs are those who support girls who firmly bind themselves to corporations and thoroughly erase all traces of guys in their lives. I believe this is something I am in a new position that I can say this. Weebs, what happened to you guys? What do you think? This really is a severe situation, isn't it? Of course I understand how important money is for businesses, because they're businesses. Even so, this is a severe situation. Hope you guys really get what I'm saying. Personally, I think that someone who's 100% becoming a VTuber shouldn't be getting a significant other. But that's my personal opinion. Hey, it's not like I can't get a significant other, but it's just I think someone in serious, if someone is serious about VTubing, they'd be putting all of their time effort into it. But I do not presume this of other people, and I never say that that's the right way to do things. Well, it opens doors for my career as a VTuber. Oi, who's sussing me? But yeah, I've never demanded this of anyone else. I am kind of focusing too much on the girl-boyfriend thing. But yeah, there's a Gachikoi who believe that creators in their private life... How do I put this? For example, there are those who say real Japanese don't assert their own views. Those who assert their own views aren't real Japanese. They obey everything they are ordered. The girls who obey everything they ordered without complaint are real Japanese, and those who support those who assert their own views aren't real weebs. Real VTubers should all be obedient, and all others are bitches, harlots. For some reasons, creators like those are being propped up as model creators. It's basically turning into a cult. Well, this perspective is pretty unique, but I wouldn't say I haven't heard it before. There are certain places on the internet that cough VT and some other boards. There's even some of that behavior that's prominent on Twitter. It all depends where you look, but there are some places where this kind of attitude is far more popular than in other places. But yeah, when it comes to corporate VTubers, we're talking about Hololive, specifically Hololive, because Niji-sanji en VTubers are a bit looser when it comes to their behavior, even though with recent situations within Niji-sanji, they too have to get wrangled because they have too much quote-unquote talent freedom, which started with VShojo anyway. But back to my point about Hololive VTubers. Hololive VTubers are under a strict management, so they aren't allowed to say whatever they want. Of course, there's business dealings to consider. There's Hololives and covers and reputation to consider. There's many factors there that go into limiting what they can do. In essence, that's a two-sided thing, because that can be a good thing and a bad thing too. If the restrictions put on them are way too big, then they have very little talent freedom. They aren't allowed to do what they would normally do as indies. So, you know, that if I was that type of creator, I would be unhappy working for such a company that really limits my abilities and what I want to do within the company. On the other hand, you can't expect every single creator to know exactly what they're doing. Like, let's say there's certain things that proper managers of these talents should know in order to have their talents avoid trouble. That's why I think wrangling some talents, especially some who are too naive or maybe a bit too gun-ho, it all depends on the person, really. I think those talent creators need good managers. It's less about, you know, limiting what they can do and more explaining to them what they would have to do in order to avoid any potential trouble coming their way. That's why I stress the importance of good management within a company. A good manager can kind of make or break your career. So I'd fully expect Hololive to actually have good managers. And those instances where that didn't work out, let's say with Russia's case probably, that was like a one-time thing. I don't think any manager could have prevented the initial leak, but talking to Russia, maybe behind the scenes could have helped. I don't know how much conversation was had with her before she decided to leak stuff, but that's a whole different story, but it's still kind of related to stopping your particular VTuber from making bad choices that could end your career, and that unfortunately happened for her. So once again, VTuber managers extremely important. Having a competent manager within a huge corpo like Hololive also extremely important. And I wish Niji-sanji had a similar thing going on, but evidence points that they probably don't have that, and their talents are very disobedient on their own. So it is what it is. I can't really affect that. I can only comment on it. I just wished everyone would everyone would be a lot more reasonable within their own actions and within their own sphere of influence, and move on with their careers without trying to either sabotage themselves or one another. But that's neither here and there, and I'm going on a tangent. Let's continue. For some reasons, creators like those are being propped up as model creators, basically turning into a cult. I can only say that that's seriously wrong. And weebs are those who really adore Japanese culture. If Japanese culture is turning to that direction, the weebs will too. I thought I really have to speak out against this. Everyone's free to support whoever they want. You're free to support those creators too, of course. Maybe that's where their character really is like in real life. When I say something, you guys go, sure, take a seat, so true. Yes, that's so true. And being a slave is not the most beautiful part of Japanese culture, guys. I'm trying so hard to get rid of slavery, weebs. But if you're all into slavery stuff, VTubing will be over in 5 years. Say goodbye to all your Oshis. If it gets to where all the major VTubers are me slave, it's all over. Oh, I'm beyond caring about that. I'm just feeling alarmed at the current situation. Part of me feels like Japanese culture is being made light of, and it really rubs me the wrong way. So I'm not telling you guys to not support those creators. I'm just saying what's most important is the creator's own happiness. Don't put emphasis on whether they're being obedient or not. I say this again in English in a Twitch stream. This stream is mainly Japanese. Comparing it to slavery and knowing how corporate Japanese culture works, is that particular perspective, that unique perspective that I was talking about, that KSon can also have, also being Japanese herself and living in Japan, knowing people that work within those environments, so he's more than allowed to have that sort of opinion. But in essence, I think a lot of her worries might be just a little bit overblown, because once again, these people that she's talking about are a very loud minority that I don't think they deserve that much attention. I think that the best thing you can do about them is ignore them. Don't give them the time of the day, unless you're a weird VTuber cringe drama channel like myself that discusses these sorts of topics. Otherwise, as a VTuber fan, or maybe as a VTuber yourself, it's best to ignore that, unless you want to play into the Gachikoi and unicorn culture, unless you want to be that kind of creator, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being that. Just know what kind of fans you're getting, and if you're prepared to cater to these sorts of fans, as well as suffer all the consequences that may come with having these sorts of fans. Let's move on. As someone steeped in Japanese culture who loves Japanese culture, I hate what's happening. Now the bad apples are getting louder than the real fans. Well, the real fans will always show support, and I think within VTubing, the real fans are much louder than the actual bad apples. I think, once again, I think ignoring these bad apples is just the right way to go. As loud as they are, they're still a minority. So from now on, I want to shout this out. If you think there's something wrong, say that it's wrong. Japan is not always right, weebs. There's a good side and a bad side to Japanese culture. Well, yeah, that's what we've been discussing this whole time. And I think the most reasonable of the fans will know that immediately and will not go into thinking that all of weeb culture is this weird controlling Gachikoi unicorn crossover sort of stuff. I imagine it's the same everywhere, maybe. Perfectly obedient girl isn't true seiso. True seiso is someone who sticks to their beliefs and fights for them. Just clarifying, I have no issue whatsoever with agencies, they're businesses. They're meant to make money. But I don't like people are saying those who strictly obey orders from above are being called real weebs. You're free to take that opinion. What's right is for you to decide for yourself. I know that sticking out is frowned upon in Japanese culture. As I mentioned during one of my other videos, a nail that sticks out gets hammered in. That's a Japanese saying. You stand out too much. If you don't conform, you get beaten down. That's something I noticed when I came to Japan from America. I don't have anything against it, of course. It is what it is. It's just what's now considered right, and I have a problem with that. I'm sorry if I'm kind of all over the place today. I asked if I could say it's on their behalf, and they said yes. If you disagree with me, that's your prerogative. There are people who say if the creator is at peace with it, then it's fine, right? But some really aren't. Well, yeah, it depends on the creators. If they feel they're limited, if they feel that their fans are acting out, if they feel their fans are controlling, I think it's more than right for that particular entertainer to speak out on their feelings and thoughts about it. You don't want to become that kind of VTuber that's not only slave to like a company that's way too restrictive. I'm talking about such companies, those black VTubing companies, and there's a few of those. And also, you don't want those particular VTubers to be slaves to their own fans. Like, imagine being a VTuber, any kind of streamer, any kind of entertainer, and you're beholden to what your fans want you to do, and that's the only thing you can ever do. Any kind of new thing that you would want to try out, anything novel, any new idea that you may have is going to be frowned upon, and you're basically stuck in a rut until your career ends, and you decide to abandon your most extreme controlling fans. I think setting those boundaries between your fans and the creator is a very important thing to do, especially in the beginnings of your career, so that people don't get the wrong idea about you. Let's move on. Toxic people exist, and I don't give a fuck. Try not to give a fuck, guys. Those are not real weebs. Real weebs are ninjas. They hide behind their oshis and they pray. And love, just love. I just want to spread the love. Thank you for listening. That's what I'm saying. That's good. Do that. They gain the heart of I love what I love, and I'll express it in my own way. Businesses have to raise money, and no one has the right to deny them that. But I just feel the trend is heading towards creators being more and more bound up. Don't say this, don't say that, don't do this, don't talk about guys, don't talk about girls. The world is heading in that direction at high speed. And it's raising alarms in my head. The end of that road is not where we want to be. Let's not live in such suffocating lives. Well, that's what I wanted to say today. Thanks for listening. I've been speaking nearly an hour, and of course I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in particular. Please don't assume that I am. I'm just talking about weeb culture in general. From the point of view of someone coming from the West. Do not clip any part of the stream that makes it seem like I'm pointing fingers. If you do, you're dead. If you do it, you're dead. So thanks to listening to me, guys. I feel like I've said what I wanted to say. I'm gonna play the ED, then relax, and move on to happier topics. And that's this stream transcript in a nutshell. Once again, you can see view the full stream on KSon's channel. A link to that is going to be in the description of this video. I think it's an interesting topic to have discussed. I think KSon's perspective on that is pretty unique. I do think she's a bit wrong about certain aspects of it, but she's mostly right about that particular talent freedom that she's talking about the talents doing what they like and just being happy together with their fans that aren't controlling, that aren't these weird extremists. And I think it was a level-headed take for the most part. I hope KSon doesn't get into any trouble because of this. I'm quite sure there's going to be people that are misinterpreting her words, taking things out of context, because that's how the internet is. That's how VTuber culture is. There would be other VTubers, there would be fans, or even KSon aunties that are going to be taking this sort of stuff and just running whatever narrative they think is best for them to run in that particular moment in order to get on her case. KSon has been dealing with a lot of harassment throughout her whole career, and I hope this doesn't lead to anything bad for her, especially not for such a level-headed takes. Even though, you know, I do disagree with certain aspects of it, as I explained. But for now, that's everything, and I hope to see you on the next one.